Hello everyone, welcome to the first episode of our series on Elevate Learn. In this tutorial, we'll be diving deep into Python's Lambda functions and functional programming concepts. We'll cover the basics and then move on to some practical examples. We'll start by introducing Lambda functions, then move on to the concept of anonymous functions in Python. After that, we will cover functional programming concepts and apply them with some practical examples. Finally, we'll summarize what we've learned and discuss next steps. Lambda functions, also known as anonymous functions, allow us to write small, one-line functions without explicitly defining them. They can be very useful when we need a quick function for a specific task or when working with higher-order functions like map and filter. Let's first look at a normal function. Here we have two functions, square and double. They do the same job of squaring or doubling a number but are defined with their own names. Now, let's create the same functionality using lambda functions. Lambda functions are defined in line with their use and don't need a name. Lambda functions are defined using the lambda keyword followed by a space, parameters, and then an expression. We can use them whenever we need to define small anonymous functions that will be used once or in a higher-order function. Functional programming is a style of programming that emphasizes the use of functions. Key concepts include immutability, where data doesn't change after it's created, and higher-order functions, which take other functions as arguments or return them as output. Here's an example of using the map function with a lambda. We apply it to each element in our list and return a new list with squared values. Another example is the filter function. We use a lambda to check if a number is even and return only those that satisfy this condition. Let's look at some practical examples. We'll create our own version of the map function using a simple for loop and then use the reduce function to apply operations across elements. Here's a simple implementation of the map function using a for loop. We define our own function and pass it to this one with a lambda. Lastly, we use the reduce function to calculate the product of all elements in a list. This is done using a lambda that multiplies two values. In this tutorial, we covered lambda functions and their role in functional programming. We looked at how to use them with map, filter, and custom implementations of higher-order functions. For further learning, I recommend exploring more about the reduce function and immutability. For more in-depth learning, you can check out the official Python documentation or online tutorials on functional programming in Python. Happy coding!